All right, so 2 weeks down, two losses, but like honestly, the Saints have looked better than I thought they were going to, and so we're going to talk a little bit of ups and downs through the first two regular season games against the Cardinals and the 49ers. So I'm actually going to start with the ups. I'd rather start on a positive note, and honestly, I'm happy to say like there are I think legitimately some ups from what many had projected as the worst team in the league. There's some good things. So first one I actually want to jump into is just the week to week improvement from the Cardinals game to the 49ers game from Kellen Moore. I thought Kellen did a really poor job of making adjustments, especially in the second half against the Cardinals. They clearly had a game plan that was less around their usual pressure packages, kind of trusted their front guys to get pressure and more of just making the Saints earn every yard. Didn't really adjust to that very well in the second half. Kind of did that like that final drive. You know, Juwan doesn't double catch that pass and he just catches it right when it hits his hands. You know, he's really able to tuck it into his chest more. He's not turning to the ground. Like it's just a different play, and you maybe go for two and win or take it to overtime. It's just a different game. But I did think he did make adjustments in the 49ers game. I thought he called a better game. Um, I think that's a plus. I think it's a big plus. Like he's a first time head coach. He's not a first time play caller, but he's a first time head coach. It is a different context, and you want to see week over week improvement from him, just as we want to see it from a lot of the other young guys on the team, or people who are early in their careers or things like that. Second, big up for me is I was not the hugest fan of the Kelvin Banks pick. Like I understood it, wasn't my preference. Um, if they go a line in the first round again next year, like Mickey needs his ass beat, but Mickey needs his ass beat for a lot of reasons. Look, he's Arizona's defense is really good. He went against Bosa a ton today, and like he held his own. And we know Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa, whichever Bosa brother, it's Nick. Um, we know going against a black tackle and a black quarterback, he was amped up. Banks did very well. So like that's a huge plus. You invest your top 10 pick in a tackle with as many holes as on this roster, and more importantly, as few playmakers as you have on this roster. They have to hit. I think he hit. Um, Another guy, more of a depreciated asset the last couple of years, but I do want to call him out as an up, is Kendra Miller. Kendra looked good in his snaps. Actually saw a few times in there today's game where like Kendra was in there in pass protection and did an excellent job, and that was a problem in the past. He's healthy. He's in shape. He looks good when he's in the game and they're giving him the ball. And he seems to be progressing. Would have loved to see that his rookie year. Would have loved to see that his second year. But he's still doing it this year. And it's early, but through 2 weeks, like that's definitely an up. And the final up to me is, and this is in a lot of ways the most important. Spencer Rattler, in his first game against Arizona, had his most complete game as an NFL quarterback. He had I think played in 7 games, started 6 last year. He would have halves where you'd go, maybe there's something here. He's got the talent. When you get in a rhythm and all of a sudden you'd be like, okay, this guy can operate an offense. He can stack throws. He can throw guys open. Like he can do some things, and then it would fall off. And some of that is he was a rookie. Some of that was Kubiak's offense kind of sucks. Some of it was literally he had almost no NFL players around him. Like, sure, there were factors, but like it was still a thing. You need to see improvement in year two. You need to see improvement week over week. You took a quarterback with the 40th pick. Now, how I feel about that and how I feel about that specific prospect aside, you started Rattler. The only way you continue to start Rattler, and the only way he has a chance to be a starting quarterback for like an extended period of time in this league, is you have this opportunity. You have to show improvement week over week. You have to stack. You have to get better. He did. He had his first multi-touchdown game, had 3 touchdowns. Yes, there's the path to Olave in the first quarter. Olave probably should have caught that no matter what. That's why Olave is not on the ups list. But a better ball there, and it's probably a walk-in touchdown. Well, then he would have had 4 touchdown passes on a not very good roster against a pretty good defense. That's improvement. He's a Puwan Johnson drop away from potentially having a game-winning drive last week. He was a Puwan Johnson drop away from potentially having a game-winning drive this week. Now, obviously, that one was literally a touchdown pass that Puwan dropped, and this week was the third down play. But like, that's an excellent throw. Read it. I saw some people say maybe Olave was open. I haven't seen any all 22 on it yet. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But the reality is, like, Juwan was open. He threw it to a perfect throw. Juwan had to hit him right in the hands, and he did what Puwan does. He dropped it. Like, you don't go to that guy in high leverage moments. Um, but that's not on Rack. Like, this is improvement week over week. He saw more throws this week than he saw last week as far as like not missing opportunities. He's executing well. He's also playing against like a good level of competition. Like these first several weeks, you're playing some of the better defenses you're going to play. Arizona's a really good defense. San Francisco is still a very good defense. Sala is no joke as a defensive coordinator. Gannon is no joke as a defensive play caller and a head coach. He's operating well, and you don't have a good roster. You don't have good guard play. Fuaga's hurt. There's all those other factors, but he's playing better and he's showing improvement, and that's a good thing. Like, period. Is he the quarterback of the future? Way too early to say that. But is he stacking good games and showing improvement week over week and doing things better that he is struggling with? Yeah. Yeah, he is. So those are all ups. Now we get to the bad side. The downside for me, I started with Kellen on the ups. I actually am going to start with Kellen here on the downs on 2 different items. Item number one, this was kind of a narrative going through mini camp and training camp and preseason, and it's manifested itself here early on. And I understand he's a first time head coach. And like I've said before, there's a lot of things I like, but the reality is this looks like an offense that didn't get a lot of reps and didn't get enough practice time. And you can see it, the lack of discipline, the consistent penalties, the bad penalties, like the dumb penalties, they're happening way too often. Have there been a couple where you're like, sure, but like floating right around like double digits back to back weeks, like that's not okay. That needs to get cleaned up. You got guys, talking about before the game, hey, the turf is kind of slippery. Okay, wear the different cleats. Oh, we didn't really think it was a problem. Well, we had a lot of slipping issues. Was it every play? No, but it was non-zero. Like you need to get every possible edge you can. Sean was a psycho about that. Sean's also the most successful coach in the franchise's history by far and away because of that. Like that is a thing that needs to be better. Also, Kellen's play calling. Like I said, I thought there was improvement week over week in the adjustments side of things. I thought the first quarter, both weeks, was really good. I thought the second quarter, both weeks, was a lot of struggle. And I think he needs to do a better job of trying to create more layups for the quarterback, more layups for the offense. And I think part of that is also effective immediately. There are two guys who don't need to see the field unless you have injuries. Brandon Cooks is seeing the field way too damn much. Brandon Cooks is seeing like the second most snaps, and he doesn't do anything well at this point. I'm an Oregon State alum. I'm from fairly close to the same area. Like, I got a lot of love for Cooks. It's year 11, dude. Like, you're washed. Mickey gave you crazy money no one else was going to give you because he's Mickey and he's dumb. Bench him. He's not getting open. He's not making plays. He's not a good blocker. I get he's a leader. That's great. That was cute. It's a nice story for 2 weeks. Bench him. All of Brandon Cooks' snaps need to go to Mason Tipton and Devon Vele. Period. All of them. Take all those snaps and divide it between those guys. Um, Vele also needs to be there on more passing downs, not just running downs. Um, his frame just gives you a lot of options that you don't have anywhere else. Some of those throws that are going to Juwan can go to him. In particular, like that third down throw that Juwan dropped on the final drive. Like, that's exactly the type of pass that you traded a fourth round pick to bring a guy who specializes in those plays. Like, that needs to be going to him, not Puwan. Puwan will catch it if he's wide open down the middle, or if he's got a smaller guy on him boxed out and like he can see it and get it into his hands, and like he'll catch those. But like those high leverage plays, that is not what he is about. He is about TikTok and drop passes and letting you down. That is who he is. People tell you who they are, believe them. So like Cooks needs to see less snaps. Yadam does not need to be playing. First of all, he's food, and not like good food. He's like a Lunchable. Sure, we have cute nostalgia goggles for him, but it's still trash. That's Yadam. He is getting charbroiled on every single snap. He's not covering well. He's not a tackling machine. If he reaches a certain threshold as far as snaps played, you don't get a fourth round comp pick, which you traded a fourth round to bring in Bellin. That's an asset deficit on a team where you have a bad roster across the board. Like, you need every pick you can get to rebuild this roster. You need multiple years of good drafts. He doesn't need to play. There's no reason to play. Even if you play Riley, it's honestly, could he be worse? Oh, he's gonna get beat every play. Okay, that's already happening. Like, Mac McCorkle Jones was shredding you, and he's ass. Like, why is this guy playing? This is just dumb. Aside to that, just in general, not playing the young guys. Broughton needs to be playing. Shepard does not need to be getting snaps. Like, Broughton needs to be playing. All your young guys need to be playing. Demario is the only old guy who I'm good with. Like, okay, we're gonna play an old guy. Like, Demario's playing great these first 2 weeks. We're not at the part of the season where you bench him, but I need to start seeing Stuntman get some of Pete's snaps. And that's not even necessarily that Pete has been terrible, but Stuntman showed a lot of potential in camp in the preseason. He's a way better athlete than Pete. I want to know what we have there. I want to know what we have early. Like, I just mean this as a theme. Like, you're a bad team with a bad old roster. You should be playing as many talented young guys as you have for two reasons. One, they need snaps to develop. Two, you need live game snaps for them to develop and to see if they can develop and do develop, so you know what you have going into next year. And playing those guys the last 3 weeks of the season where the other teams you're playing have also already quit does not tell you as much and does not give you necessarily the time to see if they can develop. Whereas like 10, 12, 15 weeks of play does. Play the young guys. Final two downs. I am so sick and tired of watching Alante play football. Alante Taylor is like a I'm gonna make a basketball reference. He's like a shittier version of Josh Smith. So Josh Smith from the Atlanta Hawks. Um, what I mean by that comparison is crazy talent. Like so many things that make you go, this could be one of the best players in the league. And then you find out he's dumb, and not like kind of dumb, but like dumb dumb. Alante sucks at football. Over pursuit, constant, terrible technique. Loses his guy nonstop if he is not coming on a blitz and on that blitz does not have the guy perfectly lined up, like it's a great play or it's a boo boo, and the dude is a boo boo machine. Like that's all it is. I'm so sick and tired of watching. Just after 2 weeks, do not resign this guy. Do not extend this guy. Do not go up. But his talent. But when he looks good, no, no. Remember what we talked about earlier? When someone tells you who they are, believe him. Yeah, he's told you who he is on the field. He's an idiot. Maybe he goes somewhere else on a more talented team with more structure and as a wake up call and plays better there. Great, good for him. Not going to happen here. I'm so sick and tired of this dude. And the last thing that is just a down right now is the defensive line. I'm happy for Cam that Cam had his big play week one. Had honestly a pretty good game. He's back down to being Cam. And like Brzee has honestly showed some flashes. Carl has had a good game. Like Carl's had a pretty good season so far, but like overall as a unit, the D line are not impacting the game. And for huge chunks of the game, Mac Jones was fanning himself, sipping a cola, no stress at all. And that can't happen. Like I understand that Chase Young is out, but that's part of the problem. Like dude's always hurt. You re-signed him and he's hurt. Like is what it is. But like that's my other down right now. And again, look, we're week two. Like things could change the next 5 weeks and the defensive line turns around and Alante pulls his head out of his ass. Like the one down that's not the two downs that are not going to change. Cesar Ruiz exists and he's terrible. He's been terrible his entire career. The year that he got his extension, he wasn't good. He was not a good player. He was not good. He was just not horrifically awful. And Mickey didn't want to look bad by wasting a first round pick on the guy, so he extended him stupidly. And Puwan is who he is. Like he can be a functional player and he can make some plays, but he needs to not be the only big body you have in those high leverage moments. Because number one, in those high leverage moments, like you're more likely to go to the big body because like that's part of the point of having a big body guy there. Like they're typically supposed to be able to come down with those balls. He's never going to come down with those balls. But like he is who he is. He's a down for me, but like he's not a terrible player. He's not a tight end one. He's kind of like he's like a tight end three, being asked to be a one, and like again, this roster construction, it's a problem. Um, it is what it is. But like a bunch of this other stuff, we got 15 more games. Can all get better. I am just reacting to the first 2 weeks of the season. And the down section was longer, but like I do want to reiterate, Kendry's looked really good. Banks has looked really good. I have a lot of positivity around like some of what I'm seeing with Kellen Moore. He needs to be better, but there is improvement week over week, and he is a young head coach, and we'll see where he is at the end of the season. And Rattler legitimately showed development, and that is arguably the single most important thing. There are times where Spencer Rattler makes you go, this guy could be a legitimate starting quarterback on a team that can win a lot of games. Because like I understand he's not winning a ton here, but he's putting you in positions to succeed. When he makes mistakes, he doesn't like spiral and go out of control. And this roster stinks. There is basically no one making plays for him. There's no one he can just be like, well, give it to that guy, and that guy's going to make me good. Like JJ McCarthy, who is looks like ass. That is Justin fucking Jefferson. Can you imagine, like, if Spencer Rattler had Jettis the last 2 weeks? We're 2-0. Same play, add in that player. We're 2-0. Honestly, if they just draft Mason Taylor with the 40th pick instead of a 97-year-old rookie quarterback who played 22 games in college, we might also be 2-0, but neither here nor there. But like legitimately, that is enough for me. I hope it continues. And look, if it doesn't, then we have another guy who's going to get a chance. Like if he spirals and falls off a cliff for a few weeks. But so far, 2 games, back to back games, improvement, had a chance to win at the end. Like you're a bad team, but you're competitive. And the team is rallying around him and he's playing well. So that's a big up for me. I don't think you can have a bigger up than that in the circumstances that we have. So, more from me later. These were my thoughts. Your thoughts in the comment section. Everybody have a good one.